Tonight, after years of speculation, confusion, and unanswered medical questions, we finally uncover the shocking truth behind why so many Americans can no longer breathe the way they once did. For decades, the deaths of beloved icons like John Candy, Leonard Nimoy, and Aretha Franklin were attributed to complications, chronic conditions, or underlying respiratory issues. But newly surfaced research reveals something far darker, a hidden biological mechanism that may have contributed to their decline and is silently affecting over 170 million Americans today. And the most disturbing part? It explains exactly why your breathing at 20 years old was effortless. But breathing now feels harder with every passing year. Think back to your younger days. You could climb stairs without stopping halfway. You could walk long distances, talk, laugh, sing, play with your children, all without gasping for air or feeling like your chest was wrapped in a tightening band. Your lungs were fully open, your airways were clear, you breathed deeply, freely, naturally, but now, something feels off. Today, you may struggle to fill your lungs. You pause mid-sentence just to catch your breath. You wake up at night coughing, wheezing, or feeling like someone is sitting on your chest. Sometimes the mucus is so thick and sticky it feels impossible to clear. And it scares you because you can feel your breathing slipping away year after year. Even worse, the breathlessness you're experiencing right now may be an early warning sign of something much more serious. Something that could eventually leave you dependent on oxygen tanks, inhalers, or even full-time care. Yet for years, many so-called experts have dismissed these symptoms as normal aging, just allergies, nothing to worry about. But a new, highly publicized investigation from the Midwest Institute of Pulmonary Biology tells a very different story. According to their findings, something real and frankly disturbing is happening inside your lungs, and if left unaddressed, it could destroy your breathing capacity and your overall health far faster than anyone previously believed. What researchers uncovered is this: the true culprit behind chronic breathing issues isn't age or genetics or even poor air quality alone. It's a dangerous class of airway clogging proteins that build up inside your lungs, strangle your air passages, thicken your mucus, and make every breath feel harder than the last. These microscopic protein webs tighten around your bronchi and alveoli, slowly suffocating your lungs from the inside out. But here's the most shocking discovery of all. These same scientists identified a natural way to break down and flush out these airway clogging proteins without steroids, without inhalers, and without prescription drugs. It all centers around a strange homemade soup rooted in respiratory practices used for centuries in high-altitude regions, yet almost completely ignored by Western medicine. And when people begin using this lung-clearing soup, they dissolve the sticky mucus, reduce airway inflammation, eliminate the suffocating protein webs, and restore deep, effortless breathing. Many report that their lungs feel opened up again, and their breathing becomes dramatically easier within just days. Imagine waking up in the morning without coughing. Imagine climbing stairs without stopping halfway. Imagine sleeping peacefully through the night without wheezing or gasping. Imagine feeling energized again because your cells are finally getting the oxygen they've been desperate for. By flushing away these airway clogging proteins, you won't just breathe deeply again. You may outperform people half your age. You'll be able to walk farther, exercise again, laugh without coughing, spend time with your children and grandchildren, and regain the independence that declining lung function may have been stealing from you. Most importantly, you can protect your lungs from future damage and avoid the frightening downward spiral that robs so many Americans of their freedom. And in this documentary, we are going to expose everything. You will learn what these airway clogging proteins really are, where they come from, how they infiltrate your lungs, why they become worse with age, and how you can reverse the damage starting today. We will also reveal the surprising, little-known mechanism that contributed to the respiratory decline of John Candy, Leonard Nimoy, and Aretha Franklin, a mechanism overlooked for decades. And perhaps most alarming, these lung-clogging proteins are found not just outdoors, but in the air inside your home, the water you drink, and even in certain foods sitting right now in your refrigerator. Your home may already be a breeding ground for the very toxins that trigger this hidden lung-destroying process. From mild shortness of breath to chronic bronchitis to COPD-like symptoms to the terrifying experience of gasping for air, all of it can be traced back to the same biological phenomenon. And since these toxins are everywhere, it's no surprise that over 170 million Americans are exposed daily, many without knowing their lungs are slowly deteriorating. That's why so many families families watch helplessly as their loved one's breathing worsens year after year. But as tragic as this sounds, the important news I bring today is this. Right now, thousands of Americans are reversing years of breathing problems by using a simple at-home recipe I'm about to reveal to you. People who once struggled to take a deep breath now wake up with lungs that feel clear and open. People who relied on inhalers for simple daily tasks now go for walks without a single wheeze. People who feared their lungs were beyond saving are now breathing like they did 20 years ago.
My doctor couldn't believe how much my lung function improved. He asked what I was taking. When I told him, he just shook his head and said, "Whatever it is, keep it up." I'm breathing easier, hiking again, and feeling more like myself every single day, and that feels amazing.
I used to avoid stairs completely. Now I climb them without stopping.
I was planning my life around my breathing. Stairs, walks, conversations, everything made me stop and catch my breath. That's gone now. I feel like I got my life back.
Hi, my name is Dr. Paul Whitmore. I am founder of the Whitmore Pulmonary Research Institute, and the last 8 years I dedicated my career to studying natural, non-pharmaceutical solutions to chronic breathing difficulties. I've published multiple peer-reviewed papers, lectured at national conferences, and worked with over 30,000 patients across the United States. My journey into lung research started when someone I love more than anything in this world began losing her ability to breathe, and the traditional medical system nearly failed her. 8 years ago, I watched my mother, a woman who had always been full of life, energy, and strength, slowly lose the ability to breathe normally. At first, it was small things. She would get winded walking across the living room. She would cough during conversations. She'd pause mid-sentence trying to catch her breath, but she brushed it off. "I'm just getting older," she'd say. "I'm fine, just a little tired." But I knew something was wrong. Eventually, the coughing grew worse. The mucus became thicker, stickier, harder to clear. Some nights she'd gasp awake, clutching her chest. Other nights the wheezing echoed through the entire house. And yet, every doctor she visited told her the same thing. It's normal. It's age. It's mild asthma. Try this inhaler. Use this steroid. Come back if it gets worse. But it did get worse. Much worse. And then one night, everything changed. It was a Thursday evening, a moment I will never forget. We were sitting on the couch having one of our usual lighthearted conversations. She laughed at something I said, but then that laugh turned into a sharp, violent coughing attack. She tried to speak. She couldn't. She tried to inhale. She couldn't. Her face went pale. Her hands gripped the couch. Her eyes widened with panic. She was suffocating. Right there in front of me, my own mother. I ran to her, lifted her arms, tried every emergency technique I knew, but nothing worked. She couldn't get air in. She couldn't get mucus out. She was trapped in her own lungs. It felt like an eternity before she finally managed to gasp in a single shaky breath, then another. But even once her immediate crisis passed, she was trembling, terrified, and drenched in sweat. And that night, I saw fear in her eyes I had never seen before. She whispered, "I thought I was going to die." And I knew, without question, that this wasn't just aging, just asthma, or just a little mucus. Something inside her lungs was fundamentally broken, and we needed answers fast. The next morning, I took her to the best pulmonologist I knew. They ran spirometry tests, blood gases, imaging scans, oxygen saturation checks, inflammation markers. Hours passed. When the doctor finally came in, he delivered the words I had silently feared. "I'm sorry, Paul. Your mother is showing early signs of chronic pulmonary decline. Her airway inflammation is severe. Her mucus is accumulating too quickly, and her lung function is dropping rapidly." He continued, "We can try inhaled steroids, bronchodilators, maybe antibiotics if infections develop, but these treatments only help manage symptoms. They won't fix the underlying issue." Then he said the sentence that shattered her. "If the decline continues at this pace, she may need supervised care and eventually assisted oxygen within the next 2 to 3 years." My mother broke down. I fought back tears. I felt helpless, angry, terrified. This wasn't supposed to happen. She had dreams of traveling with my father. She wanted to watch her grandchildren grow up. She wanted independence, not a future chained to medication schedules and oxygen tubes. But the most painful part, I knew the doctor was treating the symptoms, not the cause. And because of that, the decline would continue. The medications only made things worse. She tried everything the doctors recommended: inhalers, steroids, mucolytic drugs, antihistamines, nebulizers. And what happened? The steroids drained her energy and made her restless. The inhalers gave her heart palpitations. The mucus thinners upset her stomach. The coughing fits continued anyway. The mucus kept returning, thicker than before. None of these treatments solved the actual problem. They were temporary fixes, band-aids on a bullet wound. My mother began to withdraw. She stopped visiting friends, stopped going to church, stopped gardening. Her greatest joy. Some days she barely spoke because talking triggered coughing. She once told me, "I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm scared to breathe. I'm scared to sleep. I'm scared my lungs will give out." And as her son, I felt like I was failing her. I had to find answers the medical system wasn't giving, so I started digging hard. I spent nights poring over clinical studies from the American Thoracic Research Institute, the North Carolina Center for Respiratory Immunology, the Journal of Pulmonary Cellular Sciences, the National Institute for Environmental Lung Health. I read hundreds of abstracts, analyzed immune system behavior, compared mucus composition studies, and examined imaging patterns in patients with similar symptoms. Weeks passed. I barely slept, but I refused to give up. I knew I had to look beyond traditional pulmonology. The medical system had failed my mother, and it was failing millions of others just like her. So I did something most people would never even consider. I wrote personal letters, emails, and research requests to over 70 respiratory experts across the globe. Pulmonary immunologists in Switzerland, airway biophysics researchers in Japan, inflammation specialists in Canada, toxin-lung interaction experts in Australia, respiratory cellular biologists in the US, and even pediatric breath training researchers in Scandinavia. I explained my mother's condition. I showed them the imaging. I shared her test results. I begged for guidance, any guidance. Days passed, then weeks, and out of all 70+ experts, only one answered. And not just any expert. It was Dr. Michael Renford, a leading immunorespiratory biologist at the North Shore Institute for Biomedical Sciences, and someone who had once been my colleague years ago during an academic research project. We had co-authored a paper titled "Breathing Well: The Impact of Correct Respiratory Mechanics on Cognitive Development." In that study, we taught young children how to breathe correctly, how to use their diaphragm, how to expand lung capacity, how to increase oxygen flow. The results shocked the educational community. Their IQ scores increased by an average of 15 points. Why? Because when you breathe properly, your brain receives more oxygen. And when your brain receives more oxygen, you think more clearly, focus longer, solve problems faster, regulate emotions better. It was one of the first studies to demonstrate the direct connection between respiratory efficiency and cognitive performance. And Dr. Renford had never forgotten that work, or the clinical implications it carried. So when he saw my name in his inbox, he replied immediately. His message was short but powerful. "Paul, I know exactly what is happening to your mother. Call me. This cannot wait." And guess what? That phone call changed everything. When I finally spoke to him, Dr. Renford revealed that he had spent the last 10 years studying the hidden biological mechanisms inside the lungs that mainstream medicine overlooked. He told me, "Paul, your mother's problem isn't just inflammation, it isn't just mucus, it's the overactivation of pulmonary binding filaments. The same immune structures we discussed years ago in theory but never imagined could cause widespread respiratory decline." Then he explained something that stunned me. These airway clogging protein filaments don't just affect breathing, they also starve the brain of oxygen. This is why people with breathing problems feel mentally foggy, they lose focus, they tire easily, they struggle to think clearly, their memory declines, and stress skyrockets. Because the body is locked in a constant internal battle trying to get air. Dr. Renford continued, "When the body is fighting just to breathe, it diverts energy away from the brain, the heart, the immune system, everything. That's why your mother feels exhausted and unfocused. Her body is trying to survive, not thrive." Then he said the words that gave me hope for the first time in months. "This is reversible, but only if we target the filaments directly." Dr. Renford then walked me step by step through what was really happening inside my mother's lungs. His explanation was so clear, so scientifically grounded, and yet so shocking that it completely changed my understanding of chronic breathing problems. Here's what he told me. Pulmonary binding filaments, PBFS, are the silent suffocators. They're the real reason people lose their ability to breathe as they age. Then he broke it down in simple terms. These PBFs are microscopic, sticky, protein-based, immune-generated structures. Their job is to trap harmful particles. But because of the modern world, pollution, chemicals, water contaminants, poor air circulation, processed foods, stress, low-grade inflammation, our immune system overreacts and releases PBFS all the time. When PBFS become chronic, they bind to mucus, making it thick, sticky, and heavy, attach to airway walls, narrowing the bronchi and bronchioles, trigger swelling, which further restricts airflow, reduce oxygen absorption, creating brain fog and fatigue, cause recurring coughing, wheezing, and breathlessness. Most doctors treat the symptoms, not the filaments. That's why inhalers, steroids, and mucolytics fail. They work around the problem, not through it. And then he hit me with something devastating. Paul, if PBFs continue to build, the damage can become irreversible. This wasn't fear-mongering, it was science. Long-term PBF buildup leads to chronic airway obstruction, loss of alveolar elasticity, increased susceptibility to infections, accelerated decline in lung capacity, oxygen deprivation, systemic inflammation, reduced cognitive performance, weakened immunity, cardiac strain. This explained everything my mother had been experiencing, and it likely explains everything most of Americans have been experiencing as well. Then he asked me a question I'll never forget. Has your mother seemed more tired lately? Less focused, more forgetful, more anxious or irritable? It was all true. And Dr. Renford explained why. When your lungs can't move air, your brain can't move thoughts. Your entire biology begins to operate in survival mode. Paul, he said, your mother's brain fog is not age, it's oxygen deprivation. Suddenly, everything clicked. Breathing problems aren't just breathing problems. They trigger a chain reaction throughout the entire body, which led to my next question, how do we stop the PBFs? Dr. Renford paused for a moment, long enough for my heart to race, before saying something that changed the course of my mother's life. There is a way to neutralize these filaments, but you won't find it in a pharmacy. And then he went on to explain something extraordinary. Years ago, my father had the exact same problems your mother has. That's when I started looking for answers myself. One of the ideas I had was to take him to live in a high-altitude community because I believed the clean, strong air could help him. So I started studying mountain populations with extremely low rates of respiratory disease. After a lot of research, we decided to go to Ashguli, Georgia, one of the highest altitude villages in Europe. This place is famous for long life and for people with surprisingly strong lung health. That's believed to come from the altitude, but also from a secret that has been passed down for generations. What we discovered when we got there was shocking. Just like everyone else today, they were exposed to extreme pollution, wood smoke, cold, dry air, viruses, yet they had clearer lungs, better oxygen levels, lower inflammation, almost no long-term airway blockage. So why? Because from a very young age, they drink a soup made from local mountain plants. Over time, this soup helps keep their lungs clean. What did the soup actually do? It continuously dissolved and cleared toxic buildup from the lungs. How did I figure this out? Because even though we lived there just like them, we kept having the same breathing problems. When I studied the plants used in these remedies, I found something astonishing. The dissolving and cleaning happening in the lungs wasn't temporary, not just symptom relief. It worked biologically, at the root. But to get this effect, a person would need to consume huge amounts of these plants every day for years, far more than anyone realistically could. So I spent the next months there isolating, extracting, and concentrating the most powerful compounds that neutralize PBFs. My goal was to create a solution that could break apart protein filaments, clear mucus buildup, open tight airways, reduce inflammation, restore oxygen flow, support lung tissue healing, and improve overall breathing. And when he finally perfected the formula, he gave it to his father with incredible results. The coughing and choking disappeared completely in just 3 weeks. And 1 month after treatment, a lung scan showed his lungs were already clear. My father was so happy that he actually moved to Georgia. He still lives there today, happily surrounded by friends from the village, sharing this lifestyle with everyone he meets. Hearing this story gave me real hope. I knew then that my mother could heal too. But before he shared the solution, he wanted to be sure the symptoms truly matched. So he asked me a series of questions developed with the North Shore Institute's PBF assessment team, and I want you to answer these for yourself right now. Do you ever feel tightness in your chest even when you're not active? Do you cough but struggle to bring up mucus? Does your breathing feel shallow, like you can't fully fill your lungs? Do you get out of breath faster than you used to? Do you feel the need to take a deep breath but your lungs won't cooperate? Does cold air, laughing, or talking too long trigger coughing or wheezing? Has your breathing gotten worse over the past 6 to 24 months? If you answered yes to any of these, Dr. Renford's research suggests pulmonary binding filaments may already be forming in your lungs. If you answered yes to several, the buildup could be speeding up. That's why what I'm about to show you is so important, because once PBFs reach a certain level, the damage becomes much harder to reverse. But if you act now, you can stop the progression and you can clear the filaments, just like my mother did, and just like thousands of others have since. After confirming that my mother's symptoms matched the PBF profile, Dr. Renford finally shared the breakthrough he had been working on in Georgia. He said, "Paul, I've isolated the exact compounds found in those traditional breathing remedies, and I've concentrated them into a therapeutic formula strong enough to neutralize PBFs even in advanced cases." He explained that the formula contains a precise combination of 100% natural plants, each clinically shown to break down airway blocking protein filaments, thin and release trapped mucus, open tight airways, reduce long-term inflammation, improve oxygen absorption, support lung tissue repair, rebalance immune activity in the lungs, but most importantly, these compounds work together. That means they break down PBFs far more effectively as a team than any single ingredient could on its own. I asked him to explain each one and why it was included. So Dr. Renford started with mullein, one of the strongest lung cleansing plants ever studied. But here's what most people don't realize. Regular mullein tea or a basic capsule barely does anything. Why? Because only a specific high-quality mullein extract contains enough active compounds to actually reach deep into the lungs and break down buildup like PBFs. Dr. Renford explained it like this. Mullein works like a natural solvent inside the airways. It loosens thick mucus, helps release trapped particles, and gently breaks apart the filaments stuck to the bronchial walls. Research has shown that properly extracted mullein can reduce airway blockage, clear thick mucus, calm long-lasting cough, support the tiny lung cilia that move debris out, and soothe irritated lung tissue. My mother had tried mullein years ago, but never in this form, and never combined with the other compounds needed to fully clear PBFs. The second compound was bromelain. Most people know bromelain as something for digestion, but Dr. Renford discovered something far more important. Bromelain is a powerful protein-breaking enzyme, and PBFs, they're made of protein. He showed me studies explaining that bromelain breaks apart sticky protein structures, thins dense mucus, reduces swelling inside the airways, improves airflow, and helps lungs drain more easily. Think of bromelain as scissors, he told me. It cuts through what shouldn't be there. Without it, mucus and filaments stay glued in place. The third ingredient was maritime pine bark extract. This one surprised me. Maritime pine bark is packed with natural antioxidants that improve blood flow and oxygen delivery, especially in the lungs. Dr. Renford explained that it helps by reducing inflammation at the airway walls, improving oxygen exchange, protecting lung tissue from damage, and supporting long-term lung resilience. In polluted environments, this mattered even more. My mother had lived for years with seasonal pollution spikes. This ingredient helped protect her lungs while everything else did the clearing. The fourth ingredient, stinging nettle extract. Not the kind that stings your skin, a purified extract. Stinging nettle helps calm the immune system, especially when it's overreacting. Dr. Renford explained, you can clear the lungs once, but if the immune system keeps triggering inflammation, the blockage always comes back. Clinical research shows stinging nettle can reduce airway inflammation, lower histamine response, calm immune overactivity, and reduce mucus production. It helps stop the cycle, not just treat the symptoms. The fifth ingredient, tiger milk mushroom. This is one of the most respected lung mushrooms in traditional medicine. Modern studies now back it up. Tiger milk mushroom helps open tight airways, reduce chronic coughing, support lung repair, and strengthen breathing endurance. Dr. Renford said, This one helps the lungs remember how to breathe freely again. The sixth ingredient, quercetin. Quercetin is a powerful natural anti-inflammatory, but more importantly for the lungs, it helps stabilize mast cells, the cells that trigger swelling, mucus, and tightness. Quercetin was included to reduce airway irritation, calm allergic-type responses, support clear breathing, and prevent flare-ups. It worked hand-in-hand with stinging nettle to keep inflammation from reigniting. The final ingredient, bioperine black pepper extract. This wasn't added for the lungs directly. It was added so everything else actually worked. Bioperine increases absorption, meaning the body can use far more of each compound. Dr. Renford explained, without bioperine, most of these botanicals pass right through the body unused. With it, the formula became dramatically more effective. Then he told me the part that explained everything. Even if someone found all these plants in the right form, from the right sources, the amounts needed to truly break down PBFs would be impossible to get from home remedies. He said, "Paul, your mother would need to consume bowl after bowl, day after day for years. No human could do that." That's why he spent years extracting, concentrating, and standardizing the active compounds. What he created wasn't a tea, it wasn't a store-bought supplement. It was a precise, clinically designed lung-clearing formula meant to break down PBFs, flush them out, restore normal airway function, and help people breathe freely again. Then he looked at me and said, "Paul, I made these bottles myself. I want your mother to have them." I didn't hesitate. I drove across the state the very next morning to pick them up, because for the first time in months, there was real hope. And what happened next, I will remember for the rest of my life. When I arrived at my mother's house with Dr. Renford's formula, she was hesitant. She held the bottle in her hands, turning it slowly, as if afraid to hope again. After months of coughing fits, suffocating mucus, sleepless nights, anxiety, failed inhalers, harsh steroids, and constant fear, she no longer believed anything could help. She looked at me with tired eyes and said, "Paul, I don't want to be disappointed again." I squeezed her hand and replied, "This isn't like the others. This time we're actually treating what's suffocating your lungs." She nodded softly, and that's when her journey back to life began. The first week, a shift she could feel. She took her first capsule the next morning after breakfast. The first 2 days were uneventful. No miracles, no dramatic changes. But on day 3, she called me and said, "Paul, something is different. My chest doesn't feel as heavy." Her breathing felt a touch deeper. Her morning congestion loosened for the first time in months. She wasn't gasping as often. By day 5, she coughed less violently. Mucus began breaking loose. Her voice sounded stronger, and she didn't need to sit down as often while walking through the house. By day 7, something happened that brought tears to my eyes. I arrived at her house expecting to find her resting. Instead, she was in the backyard, standing by her tomato plants, watering them peacefully. She hadn't stepped into her garden in nearly a year. When she saw me, she smiled and said, "Look, sweetheart, I'm breathing." I hugged her so tightly I thought I might break her. The second week, her lungs began to wake up. Around day 10, she told me, her wheezing was nearly gone. She was clearing mucus easily. She could climb stairs with only one short pause. Her chest didn't feel clamped shut anymore. Her sleep was deeper and uninterrupted. Her mind felt clearer, less foggy, more alert. She said, "I didn't realize how tired I was until I finally felt rested." Her mood lifted, her energy returned, her confidence grew. The third week, her pulmonologist was stunned. At her follow-up appointment, her pulmonologist reviewed the new tests and charts. Her airflow was up, her inflammation markers were down, her oxygen levels were steadier, her spirometry scores had improved significantly. He looked at her with wide eyes. "I don't know what you're doing, but this is real improvement. Keep it up." My mother squeezed my hand and whispered, "I told you something was working." The fourth week, her life changed, and so did mine. In just 1 month, she went from gasping for air, sleeping upright, constant fear of suffocating, chronic coughing, mucus choking her chest, barely walking room to room, to walking outside every morning, cooking full meals without stopping, laughing without coughing, breathing deeply through the nose, sleeping soundly through the night, talking for long periods without wheezing. She even told me, "Paul, it feels like someone opened a window inside my chest." Now my mother wanted to say something herself. Here is her message.
When Paul gave me this formula, I honestly didn't believe it would help. But within days, my chest felt lighter. Within weeks, I could breathe again. Truly breathe. I got my garden back. I got my sleep back. I got my life back. If you're where I was, please don't give up hope. This formula gave me a second chance, a second life.
This method was the turning point that saved her life, and soon it began saving the lives of countless others. But to do that, we had to make Dr. Renford's formula available to more people, safely, consistently, and at clinical grade purity. And after witnessing my mother's transformation, I knew we had no choice. This formula had to be made available to the world. But this wasn't simple. Dr. Renford's formula depended on rare, clean botanical sources, precise extraction methods, clinical grade standardization, exact ratios that required lab calibration, and a level of purity that typical supplement manufacturers simply could not deliver. I asked him, "Why haven't you released this already?" And he told me the truth. Because most manufacturers cut corners, they dilute the extracts, use low-potency botanicals, skip purity tests, and never meet the clinical standards needed to dissolve PBFs. If this formula isn't perfect, it doesn't work. He had been approached before by companies wanting to commercialize his discovery, but they all wanted cheaper sourcing, synthetic fillers, lower doses, mass production shortcuts, exactly the things that would make the formula ineffective. But after seeing my mother's recovery, he agreed. If we're going to release this, it must be done the right way. So we began searching for a partner. We spoke with more than 20 manufacturers across the US. We rejected almost all of them. Why? Because they couldn't meet our criteria. 1, US-based GMP certified facility. 2, pharmaceutical level cleanliness. 3, 0 contaminants ever. 4, purity tests for pesticides, heavy metals, and microbes. 5, ability to extract botanicals at clinical potency. 6, exact dosing calibration. 7, small batch production to ensure consistency. Finally, after nearly 6 months of searching, we found a partner able to meet every single one of our demands. FDA registered, GMP certified, equipped with advanced cryo extraction equipment, staffed by experts in phytochemical standardization, and specialized in lung and immune formulations. When we presented Dr. Renford's research, they immediately said, "This is groundbreaking. We want to be part of it." And so together, we began producing the first large-scale batch of what would soon become the first and only formula designed to break down pulmonary binding filaments, PBFs. Dr. Renford and I decided to name it Pulmo Balance. The name reflects exactly what this formula was designed to do. Pulmo, because everything starts with the lungs, your breathing, your oxygen, your energy, your life. Balance, because this formula doesn't force the lungs, it doesn't overstimulate them, it doesn't suppress symptoms, it restores balance, it helps clear what doesn't belong, calm what's overreacting, and support the lungs as they return to normal, healthy function. Every bottle of Pulmo Balance is produced in the United States in our partnered GMP certified facility under strict safety and purity standards. Each capsule contains the exact ingredients Dr. Renford perfected during his 8 years of research: high-quality mullein extract, bromelain, maritime pine bark extract, stinging nettle extract, tiger milk mushroom, quercetin, all in precise, clinically designed dosages. No additives, no fillers, no artificial ingredients, no contaminants, no shortcuts, just one carefully balanced, lung-supporting formula designed to help clear airway clogging PBFs and restore normal breathing. Once the first small, private batch of Pulmo Balance was ready, we sent bottles to a select group of people struggling with breathlessness, chronic mucus buildup, wheezing, post-infection lung weakness, recurring chest tightness, pollution-triggered inflammations, long-term respiratory decline. What happened next surprised even us. Within weeks, our inbox was flooded with messages like these. "For the first time in years, I can take a full breath without coughing. David R., 72, Arizona. I woke up after the first week and my chest felt open. Not tight, not heavy, just open. Linda M., 68, Ohio. I used to avoid stairs completely. Now I climb them without stopping. I feel alive again. Joseph P., 74, North Carolina.
I didn't plan on making this, but I can't keep avoiding it. For 12 years, I went to bed wheezing every night. I told patients it was under control. It wasn't. 2 weeks after I started taking Pulmo Balance, it stopped. Just stopped.
These weren't isolated cases. They became the norm. Every message was a reminder. Pulmo Balance wasn't just helping people breathe. It was giving them their lives back. Their energy, their freedom, their independence, their confidence, their hope, just like it did for my mother. Right now, millions of people are spending $600 or more per pulmonology visit, $2,500 to $4,000 a year on inhalers and medications that only mask symptoms, hundreds per month on supplements that barely make a dent, and thousands more just trying to cope with declining breathing. That's $5,000 plus every year, while airway clogging protein buildup continues to suffocate the lungs from the inside. That's why, originally, Dr. Renford recommended pricing Pulmo Balance at $900 per bottle. And based on the results, it made sense. After years of intense research and clinical testing, we had created something the world had never seen before. A precisely designed lung support formula created to break down airway clogging protein buildup and restore normal breathing. Each bottle is crafted with exact clinically balanced amounts of each compound, based on how lung decline develops over time, how mucus builds up, and how airway inflammation progresses. Even our partners believed $700 per bottle was fair, given the life-changing results they witnessed in early users. And when you consider how people routinely spend $5,000 a year on temporary relief that never addresses the root cause, even $700 would seem like a bargain. In fact, many of the tens of thousands who've already used Pulmo Balance told us they'd gladly pay several times that just to keep the clear breathing, energy, and freedom they've regained. But for me and for my family, this goes far beyond money. I never want anyone to feel as helpless, exhausted, or afraid as my mother did when she felt like every breath was slipping away. No one should have to live in fear of their lungs. No family should have to stand by and watch as breathing becomes harder year after year because of unchecked airway blockage and inflammation. That's exactly why what I'm about to share means so much to me, both personally and professionally. As I speak to you right now, Pulmo Balance is already transforming tens of thousands of lives. That's tens of thousands of people who are breathing freely again. Tens of thousands of families who've regained energy, movement, and peace of mind. And to mark this milestone, I'm doing something I've never done before, something that honestly made my team nervous. If you join the Pulmo Balance family today while supplies last, you'll be able to secure your bottles at the lowest price we've ever offered. Not even close to the $900 price Dr. Renford originally recommended. And that's not all. I'm also including my guided lung recovery support program, completely free. That means step-by-step guidance, breathing support, and direct access to our team as your body works to break down airway clogging proteins, clear mucus, and restore calm, open breathing. My private consultations normally cost $200 an hour. Today, you're getting that support at no extra charge. Now, I want to be completely honest with you. This offer is extremely limited. Pulmo Balance is produced in small batches using rare, high-quality ingredients. And once we sell out, it can take 6 to 9 months to restock. If you're watching this now, it means there's still time. But wait too long, and this opportunity may be gone. You may never see this price again. Right now, and only while this batch is available, you have the chance to lock in your Pulmo Balance supply and secure one of the remaining support spots. That includes access to our team, support normally valued at $200 per hour, all for just $59 per bottle when you choose the 6-bottle package. Let that sink in. That's about $1.60 a day, less than the price of a cup of coffee, to breathe freely, move easily, and protect your lungs long term. And there's more. When you choose the 3 or 6-bottle package, you'll also receive 2 powerful free bonuses valued at over $800 designed to support sleep, recovery, and long-term lung resilience. Bonus number 1, the 7-day lung reset protocol. This is a simple, step-by-step lung reset designed to accelerate and lock in the effects of Pulmo Balance. Inside this protocol, you'll discover a 90-second morning breathing sequence that helps open the airways and increase oxygen intake before inflammation has a chance to build up. A gentle lung drainage positioning method used in respiratory therapy to help loosen deep mucus naturally. The 1 nighttime breathing adjustment shown to reduce coughing, chest tightness, and nighttime wheezing. a daily rhythm that supports the lungs while Pulmo Balance works to break down airway clogging protein buildup. This protocol was designed to work with Pulmo Balance, not replace it, helping your lungs clear faster, stay open longer, and recover more efficiently. Normally, this type of guided respiratory reset program costs $420. Today, when you choose the 3 or 6 bottle package, you get it 100% free. Bonus number 2, the inflammation-free breathing blueprint. Chronic breathing problems don't just come from the lungs. They come from silent inflammation that keeps reigniting airway blockage. This bonus guide shows you how to shut that down. Inside, you'll learn the 3 most common foods and additives that silently trigger airway inflammation, even in people who eat healthy. A short list of anti-inflammatory nutrients that support lung tissue repair and calm immune overreaction. How to recognize early signs that inflammation is rising before breathing gets worse. A simple daily framework that helps keep airways calm, open, and responsive. This blueprint helps prevent the cycle where lungs clear, only to clog up again weeks later. It's the missing piece that helps protect your results long term. The full guide normally sells for $390. Today, it's included free when you secure your Pulmo Balance supply. So, when you choose the 3 or 6 bottle package, you'll receive Pulmo Balance at the lowest price available. Bonus number 1, the 7-day lung reset protocol. Bonus number 2, the inflammation-free breathing blueprint. That's over $810 in bonuses, included at no extra cost. Now, one important note, if you choose just 1 bottle, your cost per bottle will be higher because you'll miss the bulk discount. Even so, it's still a small price to pay for clear breathing. The 1 bottle option gives you a full 30-day supply for just $79. But here's what Dr. Renford discovered after reviewing tens of thousands of real cases. Lasting breathing improvement requires time. If your breathing issues are very recent, 1 bottle may help. But if you've been struggling for weeks, months, or years, our data strongly recommends at least 3 bottles and ideally the 6-bottle package. Why? Because breaking down airway buildup, clearing deep mucus, and restoring normal lung function often takes 75 days or more. Pulmo Balance works cumulatively. Each day strengthens airflow, calms inflammation, and helps the lungs stay open. The last thing we want is for you to get close to full relief, only to run out halfway through. Missing even a few days can slow progress, and once this batch is gone, restocking can take many months. So if you're ready to stop masking symptoms and finally address what's been stealing your breath, all you have to do is choose the package below. Your order is secure, your information is protected, and your bottles will ship directly to your door. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to more coughing, more mucus, more fear, and more limitation. The other begins today. The road back to clear breathing. Your lungs are asking for help. Today is your chance to answer. Choose your Pulmo Balance package now and take the first real step toward breathing freely again. Still feeling unsure? I understand. You've probably tried several approaches already. You've spent money, followed programs, taken medications, and seen little to no lasting relief because none of them addressed what was actually causing the problem inside your lungs. That's exactly why we offer a 180-day ironclad money-back guarantee. If you don't see meaningful improvements in your breathing, or if you're simply not satisfied for any reason, you get every penny back, no questions asked. Even if you've used the entire bottle, you have a full 6 months to try Pulmo Balance and decide if it's right for you. Again, no hidden fees, no auto renewals, just a one-time payment and complete peace of mind. So go ahead, scroll down and choose the option that fits your journey best. Remember, Pulmo Balance is running out, and once this batch is gone, we're looking at another 6 to 9 months before restocking is possible. Meanwhile, pressure from large players in the respiratory and pharmaceutical industry continues to grow. Let's be honest, protecting your breathing and lung health isn't something to put off. You have a choice right now. You can walk away, keep living with tightness, mucus, coughing, and breathlessness, and hope that inhalers, medications, or managing symptoms eventually help. Or you can say yes to Pulmo Balance, the formula designed to help break down airway clogging protein buildup, clear deep mucus, calm inflammation, and restore natural, effortless breathing I can't make the decision for you. All I can do is share what the science shows and what tens of thousands of others have already experienced. But please choose wisely, because this moment could be the turning point in your life. The day you took back control of your breathing, your energy, and your future. Right below this video, you'll see 3 options: a 1-bottle supply if you're just starting out, a 3-bottle package for a complete lung recovery phase, and the premium 6-bottle plan for full relief and long-term protection. Just imagine enjoying dinner with your family without coughing or clearing your throat, walking and talking without stopping to catch your breath, sleeping deeply through the night without chest tightness, waking up each morning feeling clear, energized, and fully present. All of that is one step away. You've made it this far because you're serious about reclaiming your life from breathing problems. Now it's time to make it real. Choose the package that fits your journey, because we only get 1 set of lungs, 1 body, and 1 chance to live fully and freely. Go ahead, click the 6-bottle package or the option that works best for you and place your order safely right now. Thank you for spending this time with me, and welcome to the beginning of your new, easier breathing life.